All right, so the 2023 season is complete, and I've been trying to think of different video ideas and different video series, things like that I could do. If you watch my channel a lot, you know that for the last off season, pretty much all my videos surrounded building the shop house or the shop dominium. So I have I think it's like a 38 episode series for that, and it didn't do that well. I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but yeah, the viewers of my channel or subscribers to my channel obviously did not care that much about it, which was fine because I was going to do it either way, because I wanted to document it at least. But it was fun to make it. It just didn't do well on my channel. So anyways, I did come up with a new video series idea, and the new series is going to be called What Would Wake Man Do? And what I'm going to do in this series is I'm going to focus on some of the most frequently asked questions on my channel, which typically are subscribers or viewers commenting and giving me a scenario. For example, hey, I'm looking at this boat, I'm looking at that boat, maybe even a third boat, and they ask, what one would you pick and why? So I actually have several of those comments from the past that I'll start with, and then I'll start making videos where I just focus on that particular scenario for that particular subscriber or viewer. And I've actually already answered these ones, but I figured it'd be cool to make a video and show kind of some of my analysis, kind of what I look at, what I take into consideration. And just to give you an example, some of the things I would look at is like what for each make and model, what was kind of the whole design of that year, what was the ballast design, engine, could be several things to produce a wake or wave. And I know generally this is going to be focused on what's going to produce the best wave, because that's typically the question these days is people want to surf, so they want to know what's going to give them the best wave, or just best bang for their buck, and usually that means wave performance. So yeah, I'm going to start out with that. I'm going to in this video I'm going to dive into one of those scenarios to start out with, but I encourage the viewers of this video and my subscribers to go ahead and either comment on this video with new scenarios, or you can message me on my Instagram, so wake_man I think is what it is on Instagram, or you could email me. My email is on YouTube, or it's on my website, wakemann.com, and just give me scenarios, and then I'll pick out those scenarios, the ones I think that are going to make a good video, and maybe I'll even get them all. It just all depends on how things go, and I'll break down my thought process and give you basically what would Wake Man do in that scenario. So anyways, this is going to be kind of a test run if I feel like, and I'll probably do this for most of the off season for 2023 2024 off season. And if it goes well, I might do it again in the next off season. If it doesn't go well, maybe not, So anyways, I'll go ahead and get into this week's scenario. Okay, so the first scenario that I'm going to review with you to tell you what Wake Man would do is a comment I received about 8 months ago from the time I'm filming this, and it was from @CourtChatelain6143. They commented, "Would love to hear your thoughts and compare Mastercraft X22 with the new G23. So because I don't have every detail in this comment, I'll have to make some assumptions. So I'm going to go ahead and make the assumption, because I got this comment within 2023, that we are talking about comparing a 2023 G23 to a 2023 Mastercraft X22. So I'll go ahead and jump into some of the first things I'll look at and compare to sort of give my opinion on this. The first thing I do is I go to specs. So I already have the X22, 2023 Mastercraft X22 specs pulled up. I also have the G23 as another tab here. But if we come down here and look at the specs, the main things I'm going to be looking at is, we've got dry weight. You can see 5,500 pounds, ballast. And it says ballast with Surf Star, so that's a feature they have specific to them, so that's 3,550. Fuel capacity is a factor. It's not going to be a real important factor to me, depending, if it was much less than this, then it might be a factor for me, but in general, that's going to be very doable for me. And you kind of have to judge these things yourself. You might put more importance on one feature than another compared to how I put importance on features. Then we have capacity, which is 2,250 pounds, or 16 people, which to me is important so far as you want to just know kind of where you're at with capacity for ballast. Now you can see that the ballast capacity is more than the people capacity, but that's okay. I mean, in general, it's just like for me, it's I'm gonna compare ballast to ballast. When it comes to people capacity, I'm just making sure that does it fit enough people for my preferences. So 16 people there, and that's pretty much it as far as specs that I'm going to compare with boats. There are specs that you just can't find that I would compare, and I'll talk about those in a few minutes here. For the G23, so we have, let's get down to the dry weight. So you have 6,000 pounds for the G23, and I'll show you exactly how these match up or how they compare on a spreadsheet here in a second. And then we have 65.6 gallons fuel capacity. We have a max of 16 people, a little bit more weight capacity for this one. Again, I don't care about that though. I'm just matching the ballast capacity and the number of people, because really when you're comparing number of people, that really comes into play when you get pulled over at the lake and they want to make sure you're not over capacity. They're not going to make everybody sit on a scale. They're just going to count the number of people. So that's why I don't care about this number here. Although I will say this is larger for the G23 than it is for the X22. Again, I don't care about that. We have max ballast. We have 3650. So those are kind of the comparison factors between the two boats. Like I said, I did put them in a spreadsheet so you can see I have the two boats right here. And I forgot to talk about length, but here are the two lengths. So obviously the X22 is not a 23-foot boat. This is a factor for me. It may not be a factor for other people, but 23-foot boat seems to be the sweet spot, because those 23-foot boats are the most sold towboats of all time. So it seems to be the sweet spot for fitting the right amount of people and putting out the right amount of performance. And I can tell you that the 23-foot boat is the sweet spot for a wakeboard wake, not necessarily for a wave, surf wave. So if wakeboarding is important to you, generally 23-foot is the best. So that is a big factor for me. Might not be for other people. Okay. Fuel capacity. This is close enough to where I would not care. I did have my 24 MXE, my Malibu 24 MXE had a 75 gallon fuel tank, but funny enough, it didn't go that much longer than my G23 with a 65 gallon fuel tank. So it really depended there, I think, because the 24 MXE burned through a little bit more fuel. That might matter depending on, if you're going out for full day trips, or if you only go out for a few hours at a time, or what have you. Max people is the same. Again, the weight capacity was different for the G23, but I don't care about that. Dry weight, you can see the dry weight of the boats is 500 pounds different. And that does make a difference in my opinion. It's a good amount of weight to be able to make a bigger wake or wave. Then we have 100 extra pounds in max ballast. That's not really a big difference, and really you're kind of counting hairs at that point. So really I'd say this is similar, but this 500 pounds, that's pretty big. And honestly, if you put the two together, that's 600 pounds difference in as far as how much water you can displace. The factor that you don't see here is the hull design. And this is something you're not going to see any specs for online. This just comes with experience and being able to get behind the boats, things like that. I'll be honest, I've been behind an X-Star. It was a 2013, I believe. I've never been behind an X22, especially a 2023. Obviously, my current boat is a 2022 G23, so I do have experience here. But in my opinion, the X22, now if we were talking X-Star or if we were talking X24, this would be a little bit different. But in my opinion, the X22 probably does not have as good of a hull design for wake and wave performance as the G23 for the 2023 year model. or the 2022 year model for that matter. So my vote on whole design would be the G23. And you know, how much different is that? I don't know. I would just put my money on the G23 whole design being a little bit better to be able to produce a bit better performance. Now, let's just say, and I don't know the prices of these two boats, how they compare. I know what I paid for my G23. I don't know what I would pay for an X22. Let's just assume that, like we did on the year, let's assume that we're paying the same price for these two boats. If that was the case, then my vote would definitely be for the G23 based on these factors. Now, there can be other factors that you may place more importance on. For example, maybe you like the tower better on a Mastercraft. Maybe you like the fit and finish better on a Mastercraft. Maybe you just like the look of a Mastercraft better. Those are all things that you can certainly, you know, can weigh in on your opinion and your preference. But based on these simple factors, you know, obviously my choice would be the G23. Another thing I can put in here that you won't really see specs on, but you can kind of do a lot of research and sort of figure out, is resale value. Now, both of these boats are kind of top tier, have been known as the sort of top tier towboats for a very long time. The brands have been around for a long time as far as the towboat industry is concerned. You might even say they were some of the only few that were there in the beginning of towboats, professional towboating anyways. So they both are going to have pretty good resale value, but in my opinion, and I'll just giving you a little information of things that I've come to understand through time of owning wake boats. Nautique seems to have pretty good control on how many boats are getting into the market. They're not by any means trying to pump out as many as they can and you know, just sell as many boats as they can. It's very, very evident in their process, from what I've learned, that they're really trying to control that. Mastercraft may be doing that to a particular degree, but you know, they're also trying to make sales. They're certainly, you know, essentially like any typical company or a typical company seeking profit would do. You know, the more boats they sell, the better. And what I have experienced, and some of this comes from some sales experience. I have sold boats for a number of years on the side, and what I've seen is, and it might be specific years and models, but Mastercrafts definitely sit on the lot longer than a Nautique. There could be a lot of variables in that that make that happen. Like I gave you some examples. That could be the model in the year, and maybe it's just that particular model in the year, just, you know, not desirable for one reason or another. I don't know. But in my experience, especially since the G23 came out, G23s don't typically sit on the lot as long. So in my experience, using my experience, my opinion is G23 wins on resale value. Now, some of these things could be argued. You know, there could be people that feel very strongly that the whole design on Mastercraft is better. There could be people that feel very strongly that the Mastercraft resale value is better better than the G23. But this is my opinion. So, in the end, between the two boats, you know, if I just go back to the G23 and compared to the Mastercraft X22, I would choose the G23 in this scenario. So, and again, you know, if we were comparing an X-Star to the G23, which I actually think is a more appropriate comparison, my opinions might be slightly different. Or if we were comparing let's say it was a 2023 Mastercraft X22 to a 2017 G23 or something like that. You know, when you start changing up years, it really changes things up. So anyways, that's my first comparison. That's my first analysis, and that's what Wake Man would do in that scenario. But I want to look at all kinds of scenarios. For example, you know, if you're looking at a 2007 Malibu VLX and you're comparing that to maybe it's a 2014 Axis A22 or something like that. You know, it's just any scenario, or you know, it doesn't matter the year, it doesn't matter the make, model. I'll give my opinions. There's certainly going to be makes and models that I don't know as much on, but I'll still give my opinions. One example of some more analysis I might make, depending on the years of the boats, makes, models, those types of things, is, you know, if somebody provided me some older boats to make some comparisons on, and I know those makes and models do not have a surf system like a surf gate or some sort of tab, then I'd be comparing ballast options as well. But in pretty much all cases, I think what I'm, you know, when I do this analysis, I'm going to give my opinion based on performance, because there's obviously many features of these boats, and like I said before, you're going to put your own importance on those features differently than others. All right, that's it for this video. I hope this video was helpful. I hope this series ends up being helpful. But yeah, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have any thoughts on this video or ideas for future videos, please leave those in the comments below. And if you're new to the channel, please subscribe and click on that notifications bell so you can be notified of my future videos. I'll see you next week.
Call 911, I'm a killer.